This is the first thing I do every single night when I car camp alone. Not because I'm scared, but because I'm prepared. I travel solo, sleep in my car, and usually camp far away from anyone else. Whether I'm stealth camping out in the city or dispersed camping out in the wilderness, my safety setup stays pretty much the same. And over time, I've learned that safety isn't about one thing, it's about layers. Everything I'm sharing today is what I actually use, not what looks good or sounds good on camera. From what I carry when I'm hiking to how I set up camp, what I keep within arm's reach when I'm sleeping in my Prius camper, and even what I carry for roadside emergencies. Um, this isn't about being paranoid, it's about being confident. For me, car camping and hiking go hand in hand, and I usually choose less traffic spots, which I love, but it does mean we need to follow that scout motto and be prepared. These are items I use at camp or when I'm hiking. They're nothing fancy, just things in case something goes sideways. Number one for me is always a pocket knife. I have two that I switch back and forth between. I always keep one in the car and one on me. This honestly is not something I carry just when hiking and camping. This is an everyday item. It's part of my wardrobe, like grabbing your wallet and keys. Uh, because I'll tell you a little story. My dog Kobe loves the water, and I let him go into lakes, rivers, in the shallow areas where I can keep an eye on him. And there was one time he swam out and he was swimming back to me, but he wasn't going anywhere. And he was kind of whimpering and just not moving. So, didn't have much of a choice, had to go in. It was about waist high and it was in Florida. So, gators are always in the back of your mind. And it turns out he got tangled up in fishing line and it was wrapped around him so tightly at that point, I couldn't get it off of him. Fortunately, my son was with me. He had to run back to the house, go get a knife, and then run back so that we could free Kobe from the fishing line and get him to shore, get him untangled. But from that moment on, I've always carried a pocket knife because you just never know what kind of situation is going to come up where you need it. Another thing I always carry is a compass. We don't want to get lost in the woods. A lighter, fire starters. And so one of these and a lighter, just in case I end up in a situation where I am out in the wilderness and can't find my way back to the car or what have you. And on that same note, I have a GPS messenger. This one is the Garmin InReach. I carry this with me. Sorry, I carry this with me when I hike. It does have an emergency SOS button. So should I slip and fall and break a leg, I would be able to contact the nearest ranger's office and hopefully get some help out in the wilderness. I hope I never have to use it, but I do like to have it. First aid kit, always a good thing. This is my hiking first aid. I have another one that's in the car. I always hike with my dog, Levi. And a very important thing in here is this vet wrap. I'm not sure if that's the technical name for it, but it's a stretchy wrap to where if Levi had an injury, I could use a gauze pad, something, cover it, and then put this wrap around it. It's great for animals because it doesn't stick to their fur and it does come off easily. So you can get it from the dollar store. And speaking of Levi, he absolutely hates this. And another thing I pray I never have to use, but I do actually carry this with me on longer hikes. And what it is a dog sling. In case Levi were to get an injury out on the trail, I would be able to sling him on me and carry him back. It's not pretty. I would definitely have to take a lot of breaks. But when you're hiking with a dog, my concern is for his safety as much as mine. I did have Levi model this in the house. We're not going to have him do it again, but this is what it looks like. He's absolutely miserable and embarrassed, as you can see. Oh gosh, what is it called? A portable power station, a power station. Just in case my phone dies, I can recharge it while I'm hiking, and that way, if I need it, I have it. Plus, I like to take pictures and videos. Another thing that's always good to have, especially in the winter, is an emergency blanket in case you get stuck somewhere. Headlamp is another something. A headlamp is something I bring with me on hikes that might be a little longer, or if I start them a little late in the day, because I tend to stay too long on the trail. I just have too much fun and don't pay attention to the time, and the next thing I know, I'm running back in the dark. So headlamp is a good thing if you are not great at time management like me. These items I will carry around my neck or in my bag. A lot of people will advertise these for personal safety, and maybe in a crowded city or something on that lines that would work, because it does make a really irritating noise when you pull the string. However, if you're hiking on a trail and it's just you alone and one other person, I highly doubt this is going to be the most amazing deterrent, because who cares? There's nobody around to hear it. Kind of the whole if the tree falls in the wood things. But what I do like about it is if I were to slip and fall, I don't know, off a cliff or down the mountain or just out in the woods, and I did have an injury, I could hopefully pull this and just deal with that irritating sound, and maybe it would make someone notice me down there and get attention in case I needed help. So I'm gonna let you guys hear it. It is annoying, but okay, so annoying, loud, but not loud enough, I feel like, to really be scary or scare somebody off. And then, of course, again, the emergency whistle. Hey, buddy. Levi says, I need some love, intermission. So when it comes to personal safety, I carry different items depending on my mood, the day, how I'm hiking, what hiking pack I'm carrying. But some of the ones I use are this here. It is a taser. And I think it's a pretty good deterrent if somebody were walking up to you and you said, hey, back off, don't come any closer. It's a little alarming. Another thing I might carry is this. It's a little mace gun. Very simple. You just put your finger in there, pull the trigger, and it does its job. It shoots pretty far. Bear spray. It works for all predators, not just the four-legged ones. So I keep the bear spray with me when I hike. I usually keep it in my pack because I have something a little more accessible in my pockets. But I do have it usually on the side where I can grab it. And I keep it in the car next to me, whether I'm sleeping or driving. So this is in my car, even when I'm not camping, just all the time. Don't be afraid of hunter orange and reflective vests. They can be helpful in the early morning hours if you're going hiking. Also, if something were to happen with the car, if I got a flat tire on the side of the road and had to change it, it will help me be seen by other people that are driving by. Whew, it's starting to get cold. Let's take this party inside. I need to get dressed anyway. Come on, Levi. Oop, I missed the door. Let's try that again. Okay, you want to load up? When I'm driving in the car, I always keep one of my knives down in this pocket here, along with the mace. I like to have the knife within arm's reach because it has a window breaker here and a seatbelt cutter here. That way, if I'm ever in an emergency, I can just reach down and use that to get out of the car. I also keep the bear spray right across and within arm's reach here down by my feet. So sleeping in my car at night is where I'm going to be the most cautious. The first thing I do when I get in the car is lock the doors, and I make sure the car alarm is set. I always make sure I am in the car before dark, and if I'm camping in the city, like stealth camping or staying in a public parking lot, I'll set up the car with the night shades and everything I need in one location and then drive to the location I'm sleeping at and not exit the car. From that point on, I stay in. But even when I'm dispersed camping, I still set up the car so that during the day, so that way at night I am in it and I don't need to exit, even if I have to use the bathroom. You might think this is kind of funny, but I keep my camp toilet up on my dash. Should I need it in the middle of the night, I can just reach up here, grab it, place it on the bed or on the dog bed there, and do what I need to do. So, just like that, it's definitely the less glamorous side of car camping, but safety first. And a little privacy, please. I keep my satellite messenger in the front dash so that it gets better signal with the antenna kind of poking out there. I do try to keep it somewhat behind this cover so that way people aren't tempted to break in and thinking it's something valuable and try to steal it. I keep my phone next to me when I sleep so I can just grab my phone, pull open the app, and message as needed from there. And speaking of the satellite communicator, I always message family when I arrive at a hiking spot and when I leave a hiking spot, when I arrive at a camp spot, when I'm going to sleep, and again when I wake up. All of those messages will have my GPS location attached to them, and my family knows that if I miss one of those messages, that something's wrong. So that is something that I have in place with my family to make sure that, again, I'm checking in and staying safe so that if something does happen, we're hoping to notify the authorities as soon as possible. Rain guards help hide the fact that the windows are cracked, and blackout window shades help so that no one can see inside the car. So when I'm going to bed at night, again, checking in right before bed, I always make sure my little table is next to me and I keep my knife in that table, my phone right next to it. Within arm's reach, I have my bear spray. I always keep that with me in the back seat. I always try to keep the front seat clear, so if I feel uncomfortable in the middle of the night or whenever, I can just jump in the car and drive away. There is no view or campsite that is worth not trusting your gut. So there's no shame in leaving. As far as everything I have outside the car, whether it be my camp chairs, table, my tent, I am okay with driving away from all of that. I don't think I could personally car camp without a dog. I love having Levi with me. He is very alert. You can see him now back there. He's always watching, looking out the window. Um, I know that if he heard something in the middle of the night, he would perk up to that. That alone could wake me up. Uh, but I also know that I've had it where people have walked by my car at night in parking lots and he will growl as well as sometimes bark. So in that sense, I do feel pretty safe with him in the car because he will definitely notify me if anyone's kind of lurking about. I also try to make it pretty obvious that I have a dog with me by leaving dog leashes out as well as keeping dog bowls visible. I was on the fence about whether or not I would disclose this next part, but I want to be fully transparent with you. And so I am going to let you know that I do carry a firearm. I understand that gun carry and ownership is very controversial and it is not for everyone. And I completely respect that. And I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. But for me, feeling safe, this is just something that I do. It's, again, not for everybody. Another big part of camping safety for me is actually what my campsite looks like. First off, I usually try to back in. You'll hear this over and over with people who camp in their cars that you want to be able to leave quickly. So backing in is optimal to just jump in the front seat and drive away should you feel that's necessary. But I also like to set up a tent if I have the space available to kind of act as a decoy. So sometimes I'll store things in the tent if I have little extra odds and ends, but really I just use it as a way to save my space if I'm going hiking. And I figure if somebody's coming to look for someone in the middle of the night and they see a tent set up, they're probably going to assume somebody's sleeping in that tent over the car. And at that point, I would like to think that Levi would be woken up, alert, and I would have time to jump in the front seat and leave the campsite before anyone even realized I was in the car in the first place. Now, again, being fully transparent, does this always work out? No. Sometimes I arrive at a campsite too late to set up the tent, or there just isn't a good enough space. And if I'm being fully honest, there's been times where I forgot to pack the tent. So I do use it, but not always. Another thing I like to do is to pack an extra camp chair or use a double seater. That way it looks like there's more than one person occupying camp. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, it's always better to travel in numbers. Now, you know I'm traveling solo most of the time, but hopefully the appearance with extra clothes and an extra chair makes people think twice. If there's a spot for me to park that keeps my car a little bit more out of the way, I will choose that. This particular site didn't have that option. It is kind of out in the open. Now, if other cars and things are driving by, usually you can hear them coming down the gravel road, dirt, or in this case, snow. I'll actually pop in the car for a second and let people pass, or in the tent or behind a tree or a rock or a shrub. I try not to be visible when possible. Just, again, I don't want people to know who's camping here. I'd rather them think it's a bunch of dudes, or at least a couple, or anybody but little old me. So I did purchase this little light that is magnetic. It goes on top of the car. I have it plugged into the jackery. If I were to hear a noise outside, I could flick this sucker on, and believe me when I tell you, it is bright. Again, I always keep bear spray handy and close to me when I'm hanging out at camp. And of course, I have this guy, Levi, is always with me as well. And again, I do feel safer having a dog around for a multitude of reasons. And I always like to make sure that it is apparent there is a dog at this campsite. So real quick, I just want to go over a few roadside emergency safety items that I carry with me all the time in the car. First off, I have a tire inflator. Now I do have a spare tire as well as a jack in the car, but if I get a little low, I have this as an option, as well as, of course, the pressure gauge and a tire fix-a-flat kit. So if I do get a puncture, like a nail in the tire, and I can do a quick little patch job using these tools. This is a jump box. I highly recommend them, and I actually highly recommend this particular brand. I have used it to jump cars more than once, even a riding lawnmower. So it does work, and it comes with everything you need. It can do about 3 or 4 jumps on a charge. So it's great to have in any car that you own, every car that you own. It's a lifesaver. I recently bought a set of recovery boards. I could use them to level off the car. A lot of people do that, but I got them because, if we're being honest, the Prius isn't the most capable car, and I am afraid of getting stuck in this thing. The goal is to not have to use these, but it's just another thing in the car, one of those items just in case. I know I keep saying just in case, just in case. First aid kit, self-explanatory. Haven't had to use this too often, but it's always a good thing to keep in the car. I also have my binder of maps, so depending on what state I'm traveling to, I will pick up a map and make sure I have that in the car with me in case I forget to download offline maps or turn on navigation before I leave. It's happened before. We mentioned it earlier, but the little light here on top of the car, again, if I had an incident at night on the side of the road, that would also help illuminate things for me. So always important to keep headlamps, flashlight, things like that. And that's a great little accessory that I added to my collection. Safety is going to look different for everyone, but these are the things that work for me. If you have any safety tips that I didn't mention, please add them in the comments below, because I feel like this is one of those subjects where we can all learn from each other. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for joining. I'll see you in the next one.